Welcome to Entrepreneurs International Network, where entrepreneurs learn, network, and grow. I'm Roger Killen, the organizer. Today, Ken Krell is training us on how to transform lives and make big money with online events. Ken, I have got 3 questions that will help us get to know you at a personal level. Number 1 is this: what is your greatest accomplishment?
Oh gosh, the pressure's on. Easy answer: my relationship with my mom. I raised her very well. Okay, I can elaborate too, but that's my biggest accomplishment. Truly, is my relationship with my mother. Hated her when I was a kid. Love her to pieces as an adult.
Okay. Question number 2: do you have a secret that you'd be willing to share with us?
A secret? Oh, just so you know, it's 3 o'clock in the morning here as you ask this question, so I could give you the cheeky answer, which would really be probably very, very shades of gray, or I'll give you the professional one that's in line with today, and that is the secret of success in Heinzverein. The secret of success to me is 2 simple words, and the words are: be nice. That's the biggest secret that I would tell you to be out there, is truly be nice.
All right. I'm not going to venture into the shades of gray.
So we'll see if you're paying attention.
We'll just move on to the 3rd question.
All right.
Now, you have one life. It's pretty precious. What impact would you like to have as a result of using that life?
Great question. It's really pretty simple. It's helping other people create happiness and joy in their lives.
Yeah, that is simple. Definitely to the point. Participants, please stay muted and type your questions into the chat. Ken will answer them as he goes through his talk. Now, you're going to be sent a link to the recording of this talk in a few hours, but I encourage you to take notes anyway, because the simple act of taking notes is going to increase what you absorb by as much as 30%. Ken, are you ready to knock our socks off?
Well, I don't wear socks, so hopefully if you are wearing them, then take them off right now, because you don't need socks for today. I'm ready to go.
Right. Off you go. I'll take over the admit function from here.
Okay, awesome. That's great. Thanks, Roger. Appreciate that, and thanks for setting this thing up. Even though it is 3 o'clock in the morning, and for some reason my microphone wants to pop off of my face for the first time ever.
Maybe we should explain that you're joining us from Sydney, Australia.
I am joining us from Sydney, Australia. It is 3 o'clock in the morning here. So just so you guys know that, but we have lights, and the beautiful thing about today, and the reason why we're here, is to talk about the power of, yes, thank you, Nasrin, is to talk about the power of digital events. Now, by the way, I want to invite the half of you that are super shy or having technical challenges to turn your damn cameras on, because this is really all about us interacting with each other. And just because I see your name, Natalie, does not exactly let me know who you are. So I want to be able to see your faces, so I can smile at you, I can call you out, and we can play, because you learn more when you participate. And if you're going to rely on the recordings, you're never going to watch or listen to the recordings anyway. Let's get real. So that's also a game that we play with ourselves that kind of makes it okay. But how often have we ever really listened to those recordings? Maybe never. And Justin and I are both in a group together, and he was saying, it's good to see you outside of this group. And I'm like, that's great. But, and I'm thinking about all the different meetings I've missed. And I'm never going to go back to those recordings. It's just never going to happen. And now they've just mounted up over and over and over again. So, you're here. Don't go anywhere. Stay to the end, because I do have a gift for you that's worth a couple $1,000 US dollars, by the way. So I encourage you to stick around. Yep. I love that finger, especially when it's the thumb. When it's the middle finger, not so much. But I want to share with you today how we can use the power of digital events to create massive amounts of wealth, massive amounts of freedom, a lifestyle that you want, and really give you the ability to do what you want, when you want, on your own terms. Would that be okay for you guys today? You can unmute for that. It's all good. All right. Awesome. Okay. That's great. All right. Fantastic. Now, Scott, by the way, I see Scott Thai. Are you from Thailand, or is that just your last name?
It's just my last name.
Oh, okay. Now, I used to live in Bangkok for like 9 years. So when I see that, it brings me kind of back to home. All right. So I have a little bit of a presentation for you, but I also want to craft today around what you need and what you want, because I know what I'm talking about, and I want to be able to serve you as best I can, because I've been doing events all over the planet for 40 plus years. Chances are I've been to your town when we're doing physical events. Now, the beautiful thing is I can be to your town without ever leaving the comfort of my dining room. And I'm actually in my dining room here in Sydney. I've got a couple of lights on and that's it. And the beautiful thing I want you to understand is that digital isn't going anywhere. In fact, the numbers are kind of staggering. First, I'll share with you that that Michael Dell has said that he kind of didn't understand why people would think that we're going to lose digital events. His attitude is this, that virtual meetings are going to continue replacing all sorts of jet setting even after the borders reopen. He doesn't even understand why going to physical meetings makes any sense anymore. Let me just skip past the mom photos.
Ken, you're coming through with a slightly lower than normal volume. Any way you could turn up your volume a little bit?
No, I don't think so. Let's see. Is this any better? Hang on a minute. My microphone, alt tab. No, I'm doing that already. But you know what? Here's what I think the issue may be. Give me 1 second. And I'm going to try and find some other tape. For some reason, the microphone's leaving my face. So give me 1 fast second. I will be right back.
All right.
All right. I love technology.
Yes, indeed.
Well, the beautiful thing is, can you hear me right now?
Yeah, can hear you.
See, I'm on a wireless mic and I'm literally around the other side of my house while I'm searching for this fancy schmancy clear tape that allows me to put it, there we go, right on my face. So that way it works even better. Okay. See, now is this better for you guys right now?
Yes, it is. Thank you, Ken.
Don't you love it when a plan comes together? Now, Justin says tech's amazing until it's not. I'll tell you what. Let me take care of a couple of things before I get into the kind of the detail piece of this. Digital, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, Hendrik. Digital events are so cool, and one of the reasons why I love them so much is because you can do them with just about any technology that you have. Now, I'm on a wireless mic that I've owned for 20 plus years when I was doing physical stages all over the world. And I just managed to be able to use this and adapt it to my current Macintosh. But you can have the same exact configuration for like $35 with the same quality without having to run all over the place. The thing that's also interesting is this. You can run an event on your freaking iPhone and make 6 figures without breaking a sweat. Does that interest anybody? Let me see some hands. Okay, now why do I say that and say that with such great confidence? Well, it's because I just did it a few weeks ago. So I have a top of the line MacBook Pro that I'm on right now with you guys. Okay, that is my primary computer. And I was doing my signature 3-day event called the Pride Experience, produce ridiculously irresistible digital events that generate wealth. And on the beginning of day 3, the computer stopped charging. Now, if you're going to do a 9-hour day and the computer is at 37% battery and won't charge, do you think you have a bit of an issue? Anybody? Would you be a little bit concerned? I should be seeing going like this, right? Well, I was like, this is not a good thing. So I thought, okay, I'll just use the iPad. The iPad wasn't keeping a charge either. I ended up broadcasting the entire day with my iPhone for the rest of that morning. And guess what? It worked great. And meanwhile, as this is going on, I'm laughing because the one thing I'm teaching my people about how to do digital events is that you don't have to have the high technology. Just show up, because people don't care what camera that you have. They don't care what backdrop that you have. As long as they can hear you and you have a message that captivates them, the rest of it doesn't matter. Are you guys getting this? This is really important because, well, where are my perfectionists here? Let me see your hands. I want to just get clear. Let me see my perfectionists. Okay. Some of you don't want to raise your hand because you don't want to do it wrong. All right. So yeah, I see that, Monica. You're just laughing at me. So the thing is this. It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. When I turned into that iPhone, in fact, when I do my next event, we're going to do one section with the iPhone just to prove it to people, because you don't have to worry about all the technology. So when things break, and typically I structure my events where something is designed to break at every event, designed. Why? Because something inevitably is going to happen anyway. Like today, my tape didn't stick. Now that's pretty damn pedestrian, when the tape didn't stick. But sometimes the battery goes out, sometimes the internet goes out, sometimes the computer doesn't charge. Stuff happens. And it happens, by the way, in the physical world as well, not just in the digital world. So you have to be confident in what you're going to talk about and what you want to give people in terms of your message. And don't worry about the technology. First of all, best thing to do is have a team helping you. But the beautiful thing is you don't need to be concerned with it. And by the way, you have everything that you need. Right. I have a little bit of an upgraded thing. I've got a couple of blue disco lights behind me to add a little bit of that. But these are 2 real palm trees. Okay. $139 a piece at the local garden center. Now, when I lived in Florida, these were in my backyard for free. Okay. And the picture was sent to me from a friend of mine who bought space on my wall, actually. But that's it. This is a very expensive set, 2 palm trees. Okay. All of you can do this. You guys getting that? Right. So the important thing is this. You can do it, number one. Number two, it's not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. We're looking at a 23% projected annual compound growth rate in the digital event business over the next 5 or 6 years. And by the way, of the global event market, 40% are digital. 40% are digital. So I want to take you to 3 main components. How many? 3 main components of how to do profitable online events. Are you ready? Say yes.
Yes.
All right. Okay, good. Thank you, Roger. That's good. Okay. I'm giving you things you can count to. Okay. I'm not making this very difficult. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to plan our event. We're going to plan it. We're going to produce it. And then we're going to go and we're going to profit. 3 things: plan it, produce it, and profit. Now it comes down. I'm just going to put a couple of people up here on the screen here, and we'll talk about these guys as we go through today's festivities. Okay, because they're pretty important people that I want you to think about. Because as you plan your event, a couple of things I want you to keep in mind. What are you trying to achieve? What are we trying to achieve? Where do we want to go? When you leave your house and you want to go grocery shopping, you have to come up with a couple of thoughts. First of all, what store are we going to go to? Okay, if you're in Atlanta, are we going to go to the Safeway? Okay, or are we going to go to the Kroger? We're going to go to the Publix rather. If you're in Phoenix, we're going to go to the Safeway. Or we're going to go to, oh gosh, I'm going blank on my other grocery stores, Bash's. Okay. So we need to know that. Then the next question is, how are we going to get there? With digital events, the question is going to be, do we do a 1-day event? Do we do a 3-day event? Do we do a challenge? Do we do a summit? Do we do a webinar? Easy questions to ask, easy questions to answer. I'm going to tell you this. Do you want to make a lot of money? Let me ask you this. Do you want to make a lot of money? Okay, I'm seeing some hands. I guess that means a yes. Okay. If you want to make a lot of money, then guess what? Your best way to make a lot of money is to do a 3-day event. A 3-day event. And you may be thinking, but why would you want to go 3 days? That's a long time. I'm going to tell you what, 3 days is a really short time frame when you have a lot to talk about and when you want to make a few $100,000, if not $1 million over a weekend. 3 days also gives you a lot of opportunity to screw up. How many of you here, and you can freely admit this because I am the king of screw ups. How many of you here have ever made a mistake in your life? Let me see your hands. Come on, that should be all of you. Even those of you that are not even showing your screen. I should be knowing that you're raising your hands in the background, right? Yes, my perfectly imperfect people. I love you guys. Here's the bottom line. You're going to make mistakes. Things are going to go wackadoodle. If you do a 3-day event, you can recover from the mistake you made on day 1 or day 2. Are you following me here? If you screw up, and I'm telling you what, I've done this for a lot of time. I've sold multiple millions of dollars of products and services from stages all over the planet. And I can tell you that there are times when it's like, I have done the dumbest things and I've lost an audience, but having more time with them allows me to bring them back. Does that track for you guys? So you take away a lot of pressure. If you're doing a 1-day event, for example, and you're just not there. You know, you choke on your clothes or something isn't exactly right, or you have an audience member who's a bit off the rails and distracts things. Have you ever had an audience member, if those of you are speakers, ever had an audience member that's just frankly shouldn't be there at all? Like, please, let's just like get him out of the room, or her out of the room in that case. That can be a challenge until you get a grip. And sometimes you need time to do that. So having a 3-day event will make your life a whole heck of a lot easier. So when you plan for success. Then you produce the event, which means filling the event, which means getting them to show up to the event. And by say filling, I mean selling tickets, then get them to show up and then get them to stay. 3 elements of that. Get them to buy your ticket, enroll in your event, show up for the event, and then stay during the event. How many of you have enrolled in an event and never shown up? Let me see some hands. Yeah. Okay. That's probably all of us as well. How many of you have enrolled in a webinar and never even intended to go to the webinar because I'll get the recording. And then of course you never listen to the recording. Well, that was kind of worthless. Or better yet, you enroll. Okay. And then you intended to show up, but something happened. There's that one. And then, by the way, you sign up, you show up, and then the speaker is just God awfully boring. Please, let's just chew our arms off. This is horrible. How many of you been to those kind of events? I'm going through one of those this weekend right now, actually, and I'm watching. I'm like, oh my God, please, seriously, come to my training so I'll teach you how to do this right. Okay, so those are the kind of considerations we have to have. And I'll walk you through a couple of things that we do along the way here that'll help you along the way, because it's not that difficult to do when you actually pay attention to your audience. Most people don't, because they're so wrapped up in themselves that they forget to look at the people that count most, which is the audience. Oh my goodness, how renegade is that, right? But let me introduce you a few people that have figured this out, okay? And on the upper left is Dr. Marilyn. Dr. Marilyn helps kids not kill themselves. Let me say that again. The teen suicide rate is up by about 8 times this year, and the teen mutilation rate is up about the similar level. She works crisis lines and helps kids stop themselves from mutilation as well as from just suicide. And she's putting together a program that does that on a much more deep level, giving kids a better level of self-esteem. Would that be of value and of importance to our world? Say yes. Okay. Whatever platform you have, and she's not doing this for profit, by the way. She's doing this to make a difference in the world. For her, she's not motivated by money. She's motivated by something called heart, which is pretty incredible. How many of you have that behind what you do? Let me see some hands. Okay. Now, by the way, money is great. I love money. I want you all to make a lot of money. We're going to go through an exercise here in a couple of minutes that will have you explore how much money you can make from your first or next event. Would you guys like to learn how much money you can make? Like big money? Would you like to see that demonstrated? Okay, where might people like money? Let me see both hands for money. Okay, good. Just want to make sure I have the right people here, because at 3 o'clock in the morning, we better be, for me anyway, we better be talking about something that's really seriously important here. Okay, now let's keep going over here. Next to Dr. Marilyn, let me go back over to our screen over here. In the upper center here is oh God, I'm going blank on his name all of a sudden. Zor. Zor is from Sudan. He's one of the Sudanese refugees, and Zor's doing events for one main purpose. That's to bring electricity back to his village in South Sudan. Another great, valiant reason for doing events. Okay. On the upper right is Kelly Filardo. I'll talk about her in a few more minutes. And in the center is Mary Jo. Mary Jo is doing events to help women, Christian women, get this niche, Christian women over 40 who have survived long-term marriages, now divorced, and are getting a new start in their lives. Are you seeing a pattern here? People that have missions that want to make changes in their lives. They're using the power of digital events to do that. By the way, in Mary Jo's first event, she closed 33% of her audience. 33% of people that came to her event said, yes, I want to do business with you and invest in your premium high ticket offer. Does that excite any of you? Okay. So I want you guys to think about what it is that you want to do, what would excite you, what would maybe help you change the world. And I'm thinking about you, Paul, as you look at maybe making some changes and shifts in what you turn you on. How can you help other people? And then how do we turn that into a business? And by the way, it's one of the first things that I teach when we do our Pride event. Somebody needs to mute. Let's just, there we go. Thank you. Okay. So the whole idea of this, you guys, is to use the power of the digital stage to shift and transform lives. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, a couple of things I want you to think about. And I'm going to segue away from the formalities of this presentation here, just to give you a couple of things to bear in mind. For those of you that, hang on, let me just get over here, that have thought about physical versus digital. And now that some of you in North America are thinking that since things are reopening, that it's okay to go back to physical stages. Let's talk about why you wouldn't want to do that. Let's take a look real quickly here at physical versus digital. Back in the old days when we were doing physical events, and by the way, I'm in lockdown, at least until the end of September. So physical events ain't gonna happen for me probably in my lifetime, frankly. But when we were doing physical events before all this madness started about 2 years ago, we were paying for hotel rooms, both for ourselves and our teams. We were paying for ballroom rental. We were paying for airfare for ourselves and our teams to our events. Okay. We were paying for AV, big time AV. We were paying for event management and staff, printing and shipping, catering. And one thing that no one ever factored was the time we lost traveling. When I was living in Bangkok and flying to events in Vegas or LA or Miami or whatever, I was losing literally 24 hours in each direction. But on top of that, I was also dealing with massive amounts of jet lag, which was devastating. And for those of you that are going from, say, Vancouver to Boston or whatever, and you think that's a big deal, let me tell you something. If you think that the jet lag from Vancouver to Boston is a problem, you are a lightweight. Okay. Because I'm telling you, when I would go from Bangkok to Boston, that's a disaster on your body. And that would take me almost a week in either direction. People don't think about that. So physical versus digital makes a giant difference. On the digital side, we don't have hotel rooms to worry about. We don't have ballroom rentals to worry about. We don't have airfare at all to worry about. There's no AV to worry about. You have everything you need right here. Zoom, your iPhone, a microphone, which is built in your iPhone, you're good. You don't need anything like that. Event management and staff, you might have a team. I use a team. I recommend that. So you will have some of that. I recommend. Printing and shipping, everything you have is downloadable. Catering, I think you can make your own tea. Everyone's going to do their own. And the travel time, I will tell you, my travel time is pretty significant to go from behind that wall where my bedroom is to over here. Do you see that there's a little bit of a difference? By the way, when you do a physical event, you got to plan it out months in advance, because your attendees have to travel. You got to book the hotel room, which is a physical limitation. So if the ballroom's not available, then you can't do your event that day. And by the way, if you need to change or postpone it, forget about that, because you're going to pay penalties. On a digital event, you can move it around anytime you want by simply saying, oh, let's move it to next Thursday, and you're done. So much easier. Are you guys getting this right now? Does this make sense? Okay. So it makes things so much more fun and flexible. It's good to see you, Marilla. So I thought that was you coming in. That's pretty awesome. And by the way, the fun thing about digital is people like Marilla, because Marilla has been following me for, oh my gosh, close to a year now. And I see her all over the place. She's been to a number of my events. And the cool thing is, she is nowhere close to me. We build communities that are global communities that are just as real as if someone was in my ballroom. The same level of heart and connection still exists. I mean, come here, let's get close. The nice thing is this: you can be just as intimate, in fact, more intimate, when I'm this close to the camera with you, eyeball to eyeball, than if you were in a ballroom with me and you were one of 5,000 other people. Does that track? Do you see the difference here, you guys? And I can call you out where, like, Susanna, I lost your chin, right? And I mean, I can call you out by seeing, like, Kim right now, you're in the shadows. So you're just kind of a mass of shadow. I can barely see you. So you can if you can adjust your light a little bit, I can see you better. And then I'll see your beautiful smile. Because right now I see kind of a shadow of your glasses. See, in digital, I can do that with all of you. And if your cat shows up, or your baby shows up, or your husband or boyfriend shows up, we can have a conversation and get very, very close together with a level of intimacy that you would never be able to have in a physical event. Does that make sense? You see why I like this so much? It makes a huge difference. And when you can make the kind of a difference, I will tell you this: you can make a lot of money. Okay. Now, should we talk about money for a couple seconds? Would that be helpful for you guys? I'm looking. Monica's giving me the thumb. All right. I like that. All right. So if Monica gives me the thumb, I say it's good to go. Nasrin gives me the thumb as well. All right. Then let's go play. Let's talk about money. When we do an event, the type of event that I like to do is called an enrollment event. It's a sales event. The objective is we provide lots of content, great value, but at the end of the day, I want to invite you to learn more with me, so that way I can offer you what I call a premium offer. Okay, I want to write that down, premium offer. In our lingo, by the way, the premium offer is also known as an HTO, which stands for high ticket offer. Okay. I like the term premium offer because I just think it sounds a whole lot better, quite frankly, than when I sell the HTO. I'd rather be able to give someone a premium offer. That's just kind of my lingo, the way I like to speak. Now, there are four main components that you have to have a winning high ticket offer. Four main components. And this is what we promised to give you today in today's presentation. So let's go take care of that right now so I can keep my word. Number one is that the offer has to have a function of accountability. You want to write this down? You want your offer to give people some means of getting something done and being held accountable to it. How can you do that? You can do that with a mastermind group, with accountability partners. You can do that with check-ins, with personal coaching, a number of different ways we can play that. But your offer should have some semblance of accountability. It must also have a sense of community. Now, here's the fun thing about this. When we're talking about community, the fun thing is that people will buy for other elements of your high ticket offer. I'll get to the other two in a moment, but they will stay because of community. They'll stay because they feel loved, because they feel they're part of something. They feel accepted. They feel that they're not crazy. How many of you have been to an event or been as part of some kind of a group, and when you get home and you tell your spouse or a significant other or roommate or whoever is like, ew, and you don't want to talk about it because they're just judging you? Has anybody experienced that? Or where at home they just don't get you, like you're weird? Well, wouldn't it be better if we were in a community where we could be weird together and it be normal, right? Gamers have those kind of communities, right? Well, you want to have your community be that as well. And let the community have its own name, for example. Okay, so for example, Justin and I are in a group, we're called Leapers. Okay, because we've taken the leap together type of thing. So when you have that level of community, it does have something that keeps us bound together. The next piece of this, number 3, is called wisdom transfer. Wisdom transfer. And that's the thing that people buy in their brain. That's the knowledge that you're going to learn from working with me for a year, for example. You're going to invest, say, $50,000 to work with me for the next year. And during that year, will you get $50,000 of value from me? Hell, you'll get $500,000 of value with me, because I'll teach you this, and this. Okay, that's what your brain will say. I can justify that. It's a 10x return on my money. No big deal. Got it. I'm buying part of Ken's brain. Does that make sense? People are going to buy your brain that way. Okay, is that a dog? Is that a dog, Daniel? I can't tell the dog. No, it's a cat. It's a cat, isn't it? I think it's a cat.
It's a cat.
Okay, cool. Okay, mine are behaving right now. I've got 2 of them, but it can be monsters at a time. Okay, so wisdom transfer is really important. People will tell you they'll buy for that, but I'll tell you what. One reason they'll buy that you don't think about is number 4 that no one teaches, and that is ego, significance, and bottom line is bragging rights. Okay. Now, this one is a big one that people never even think about or talk about, but boy, oh boy, is that important. Tony Robbins has a program called the Platinum Partnership. Tony Robbins Platinum Partnership, when I joined it about, I guess, 15 years ago, was $65,000 just to say hello, and about another $50,000 to travel the world with him. So it's a $100,000 plus program. And you would brag about, I'm one of Tony Robbins Platinum Partners. I travel the world with Tony. And so you had no problem spending $65,000 to join Tony's Platinum Part. You could talk yourself out of it all day long, but you knew you were going to go do that. How many of you know that no matter, or let me say it this way, how many of you know people that no matter what offers out there, they're going to buy the best thing no matter what? Suzanne's nodding her head. Yeah, I'm one of those people too. I remember driving up the Florida Turnpike. I was living in Fort Lauderdale at the time. It was a 4-hour drive to Orlando where Tony was doing his event. I knew he was going to offer platinum because a friend of mine told me about it. And I knew even before I got there, I was buying it. Now, along the way, I'm like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I knew damn well I was going to do it before I even got there. How many of you are people like that? You know you're going to do it before you even get there. You know you're going to do something. Yeah. So half your audience is that way, by the way. They're ready to make a move. You just have to give them an opportunity to do that. So if you don't make them an offer, by the way, you lose. And so do they, by the way. But these 4 elements right here, these 4 elements are going to make the big shift in an offer that's successful. If you don't have all 4, you lose. You got to have all 4. Make your offer have those components. They will buy based on this. They will stay based on this and this. Okay. But the ego, huge part of why they actually will make the transaction with you. Okay. Kind of important. What should you charge for your high ticket offer? What do you think? What should you charge for your high ticket offer? Okay, here's the answer. More than you think. More than you think. If I go back to my hit parade of people, in fact, I'll share with you Michelle Hollis here. Let me see if I can get this up on the screen. There we go. So this is Michelle Hollis. Michelle Hollis came to my Pride event, and she thought that her offer of $2,000 was a high ticket offer. To me, that's just like, eh. By the time she left, she'd raised her price to $15,000, tested it in the marketplace, and the first people she presented it to said, that's fair. Could have blown her away. She said she could have been knocked over with a feather. Why? She never thought she had the value of $15,000. Olivia White, let me see if I can find Olivia's photo here. Where's Olivia? Okay, here's Olivia. Olivia, this is kind of shocking. Her high ticket offer, listen carefully, $49, a $49 ebook. I got her to, within 3 days, I got her to 900, which is an 18x change in her valuation of herself. Now she's at $9,000. So where are you selling yourself short? Where are you selling yourself short? So many people are out there suffering from imposter syndrome. And I want to challenge you to consider that you are worth a hell of a lot more than you've ever thought possible. Now, how many of you are feeling a little bit uncomfortable in the pit of your stomach when I say that? Let me see some hands, because it's a bit of a challenge to some of you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Well, let me ask you this question. How many of you, despite that feeling of perhaps some discomfort, want to blast through that and make a hell of a lot more money than you ever thought possible? Let me see some hands there. Okay, that's where I want you to be in that state of, you know what, I'm a little bit feeling weird, but I'm willing to get past it because I know what's on the other side. Let me ask you this question. Would you like to do a little exercise with me where you can see what that would translate into money-wise? In other words, how much money could you make from your first or next digital event? Want to learn? Want to see? Say yes. Okay, cool. Then I'm going to take you to a link right now. Let me go find the screen over here. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to take you to the digital. Here we go. All right. Oh, wait a minute. Got to go back up. Let me see something. Hang on a minute. I got to change this here. Here we go. Okay. So I want you to go to this URL right now. Go to joinpride.com/EIN-planner. The page will look just like that. joinpride.com/EIN-planner. And actually, let's see if somebody can stick that in the chat for me. TP, hang on, so joinpride.com/EIN-planner. Okay, if you go to that URL, I just popped it in the chat for you guys. And we'll go through 6 questions. I believe it's 6 questions that will take you through exactly what you can make from your first or next online event. Okay, so go to joinpride.com right now /EIN-planner. And when you get there, you'll see this one page, this little splash page. And then what I want you to do is I want you to answer some questions. The first question you're going to answer is this: how many attendees are you expecting at your first or next digital event? And you can make these up, by the way. You're not being held to anything. This is not a formal contract with your life or with God. Okay, this is just a playtime experiment, so you get an idea of what you can actually produce. So are you expecting 20 people, 50 people, 5,000 people? Let's think relatively reasonable for you. Maybe it's 50 people. Maybe that's the number. So pop in whatever that number is for you, what you think you'll have. And again, this is just playtime. This is just an estimate. So how many attendees are you expecting? Next, what is your average event tuition? Now, my Pride event last summer, we sold it out for $2,000. These days, events are selling, 3-day events, 5-day events, whatever, are selling anywhere from $97 to $600. I think Funnel Hacking Live is like $600, $700 right now, as a matter of fact. So they're getting good size prices for some of these events. So you can use, I would say you could use like a $97 number. Some are charging $197, some are charging less. But if you use a $97 number, maybe that'll be a good number to use just for your estimate. Again, entirely up to you what you want to play with. And right now I'm using USD. If you're in Canada, we're still talking dollars, so it doesn't much matter. Okay. How do you find people willing to buy HTOs? Daniel, it comes down to value. People will buy an HTO instantly based on the value that they believe they're going to receive. Most network people are highly price sensitive. They're price sensitive because they don't see value. Price doesn't matter. Value does. If your child is dying, it needs emergency surgery. Price is not the issue. Will the life be saved? What are you willing to pay to achieve the final happiness you want in your life? Anything. So when people are in this price sensitive thing, it's because they've not been given value. It's that simple. Truly, it comes right down to that. Okay. Okay. Anyway, so let's keep now. By the way, there are logistical things. If you're dealing with people that are in economic scenarios, for example, in the Philippines, their economy is not typically one that will have the majority of their audience being able to invest in a $25,000 offer. So you want to look at, the logistics of the demographics of your market as well, to be fair. Let's keep going. So what's your average tuition? Hopefully you put a good number in over there. And now what's the price of your VIP ticket? You will typically have a VIP offer. VIP offers will typically include the recordings of the event. They may include some extra special sessions with the host. For example, my VIP includes recordings plus 2 cocktails on the couch with Ken and the cats and questions. Those are 2 one-hour sessions that we do at the end of 2 of our 3 days. We have extra sessions. We have an event called Interview-thon, which is a multi-$1,000 event that I also put into the VIP package. There's other bonuses and discounts and things. So it's a multi-$1,000 offer. For, in my case, my VIP is $197, going up to $297 another few days. So whatever number you would put in, pop that in. Oh, I like that, Daniel. I like your background. That's great. So pop in your VIP number there. And by the way, if you're not doing VIP, I totally recommend that you do. If you don't do VIP, you're leaving money on the table, which leads us to the next question. What percentage will invest in VIP? Typically, we see 30% on average. Typically, we see 30% on average. I said one person I was talking to yesterday, he had a 20% conversion on his VIP at $297. It was at 19% actually. I typically do, my last event, I did 47%. So I would recommend play 30, but whatever number you want to use. Continuing on, what's the price of your high ticket offer? Now, typically a high ticket offer, in my vernacular, a high ticket offer is anything over $5,000 or $6,000. My high ticket offer, my big one is 50 grand. So whatever number you want to put in there is fine. If you want to use 5,000 to start, use 5,000, whatever turns you on. I will tell you this, your first event, whatever you do, will be the lowest price you ever use for your HTO. The lowest price you ever do for your HTO. Why? Because after you've done it and sold it, you realize how easy it was. And you'll think, wait a minute, that was too low. It was too easy. I should raise my price. Are you guys getting this? This is important. This is important. Okay. Continuing on. What percent of your audience will buy the HTO? Now, this one's very interesting. Typically people will range anywhere from 10 to 30%. And in the old days, people, when I say old days, like last year when we first started doing digital events in seriousness, well, others were doing it in seriousness. I've been doing it since 2009. They were saying they won't convert like physical. They won't convert as much. That's garbage. They convert better. If you do it right, they convert better. So I would budget anywhere between 10 and 30% as a conversion rate. Typically, for me, I budget 20%. I've been consistent at 22. In my last event, I converted, listen to me carefully, I converted 40% on a $50,000 offer. 40% of my audience, 40% said yes to a $50,000 offer. So when people tell me, but they won't, I say, but you haven't asked. And by the way, that was with only 30 people in the room. Only 30 people. You don't need to have big numbers to make big money. Are you guys with me here? That was $600,000 with 30 people. Okay, who's liking this so far? All right. Okay, so now continuing on over here. Oops, here we go. So now what I want you to do is, by the way, how many events of these events you want to do over the course of the year? Another good question, because I don't think you should just do one. I think you should do a few. I run my Pride event every couple months. I run my Pride event every couple months, 6 times a year. Actually, we'll end up doing it probably 7 or 8 this time, because we're going to run it on different time zones. So put in how many would you want to do? 3, 4, 5, whatever. Entirely up to you. By the way, just so we're clear, I used to run 3-day events virtually every single weekend, 3 to 4 weekends a month in different cities. So I'd have to fly to different cities to do these things. Now you don't have to. I can run an event for Perth, Australia, Bangkok, Singapore, Hong Kong, Kuala Lumpur, all at the same time from the same place. And then the next weekend I can run one for the geography, because timing is different for other geographical areas. For example, my Pride event starts at 11 o'clock Eastern time, which is 1 o'clock in the morning for me here in Sydney. My Asia market would not appreciate being up all night. My Americans, Canadians don't have a problem with it, because it's their daytime. I'm the one that's up in the middle of the night, like I am with you right now. So you can run the entire planet on your own terms. Okay. Now just go ahead and pop in your basic information so we can get the results to you, which should now be in your inbox. Okay. And I'm curious right now, what kind of results do you have? What's your number? What's your number for your first event? What's your number for your annual number? Why don't you guys pop that in the chat? Because you should have some answers right now. I'm curious to see what you guys are coming up with. This is the fun stuff, how much money did the calculator say you're going to make? And it should be on your screen right now. You should be able to see this. So pop it in the chat, because I want to see what you guys came up with. Don't hesitate here. Come on, you guys. We're having a little bit of a delay with people being shy. Here we go. $12.25 per event, $14.7 annual, $354 yearly, $650 in 1 year. That's fantastic. You definitely want to get your numbers up big time. Okay, absolutely, totally big time. And by the way, after your $12.25 for that first event, I guarantee you'll 10x that. So we got some nice numbers here for some of you. And for the rest of you that are being shy, do this exercise. And by the way, you can do it again and again and again. There is no charge for you to use that calculator. It's my gift to you. I think you'll find that to be pretty fascinating. What's the lesson here? 184,000 for just 6 events. Yes, thank you. Okay, how would that change your life if you just did one? See, here's the thing I want you to keep in mind. When you do one, and by the way, your first event will be your worst event. When you do one, you start to get comfortable and you can do more over and over and just make it better and better. And it's so much fun. How do you fill the event? Well, guess what? I'm doing mine right now. I'm going to give you an invitation to come join me for my next event in September. Just by doing this, I do a free event for Roger, for you guys. I give massive amounts of content and value, and I give you an invitation. Come learn more. And I'll give you an offer that, frankly, you cannot refuse, because I'm going to give you a massive gift. You guys like gifts? You guys like gifts? I'm seeing nods. Okay, cool. So filling events is the holy grail. I'm going to tell you right now, it is the holy grail. And during the time that we're together, if you join us for the Pride experience, I'll walk you through how we do that. It is the biggest challenge, quite frankly, for everybody in the business. Okay. If it was the easiest thing, people would do it all day long, but it is absolutely doable. Absolutely doable. It just comes from being creative. Even if you don't know anybody, even if you have no list, even if you have no budget, you can still build an audience. And here's the fun thing. You don't need a big audience to make big money. You don't need a big audience to make big money. This is Pam Heath. Pam Heath did her first event, a 1-day event, you guys, a 1-day event. Her first event, she had 11 people register for I think it was a $25 ticket price. Okay. That's like crazy time. Of the 11 that registered, 8 showed up. 8 showed up. She made $18,000 on a 1-day event. That wasn't perfect. Didn't even follow the model that I told her to follow. Okay. She made 18 grand in 1 day. You guys liking this? Don't worry about big numbers. You don't need the big screens like Tony Robbins. Just show up. Okay. Yeah, I want to do an event where people can actually receive tangible knowledge, help run their business. Absolutely. Listen, people are not going to buy your high ticket offer unless you give them something tangible. You can't flash and pan them like on a webinar and give them just sizzle, 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 and have them expect to pop 10, 20, $30,000 with you. They've got to recognize that you truly do care about them. They got to recognize that you truly do have the answer to their problem, that you are their solution. Are you guys getting this? Unless you provide value, you haven't even earned the right to ask for that offer. See, the fun thing is, wouldn't it be great to be able to make an offer to somebody and have it be so easy and not feel cheesy, not feel rotten, not feel weird about it, not feel manipulative, but just have it be logical, like, hey, do you want to learn more? Would that be cool? I mean, that's really the bottom line. You don't have to work hard on this if you do it right. I mean, let me ask you right now, how many of you guys would like to learn more about how to do this? I've only got a few more minutes to go here before Roger gives me the hook. How many would want to learn more about how to do this sort of thing? Let me see some hands. Okay, cool. Well, then let me give you an invitation. It's that simple, by the way. Then let me give you an invitation. I mean, hello, was that hard? Right? So let me give you an invitation. It's pretty simple. It's really very simple. I think I even have a slide for it. Let me double check here. Hang on a minute. Because there's so much more I could do. And it's unfortunately, we just don't have the time to play with it. So I want to invite you to come join me for the Pride experience. It's September 9th, 10th, and 11th. It is 3 solid days. We start at 11 o'clock Eastern time, go till I think like 9:30 or 10 at night. They're long days. These are full solid, like really full on days. Okay. And I'll tell you, people love the event. I mean, I get people that just off the walls. Marilyn was here. I'm not sure she's still here, but she's been through the event. It's pretty amazing. People just absolutely love what we do. What makes the event really fun, though, okay, of course, is not just me, but it's the audience itself. It really does become a massive community over the course of the time that we're together. But here's the thing that's kind of interesting. Okay, the event, when you leave the event, number one, the value that you recognize for yourself is far bigger than before when you walked in the door. That's a guarantee. And I never thought that was going to happen. That was not the design of the event. I want to be clear about this. My design was to help you make all sorts of money, transform lives, make a difference. I didn't expect that people would walk out going, my vision of myself has shifted. Never thought of that, but it happened. Happens to everybody. It's fascinating. And when you give yourself, talk about producing ridiculously irresistible digital events. That's what Pride stands for. Ridiculously irresistible, by the way, is you. It's your heart. It's what you deliver. It's what makes Roger Roger. That's what's made him one of the best TEDx speakers out there. Why people love him and why people trust him is because he is ridiculously irresistible in his own way, as all of you are. When you let that out, you're unstoppable, and you're like a drug. People want that. Right? So that's really the bottom line to all of this. Now, as I said earlier, Pride sold out last summer for $2,000, and it sold originally for $5,000, like 5-6 years ago, in a different format. And if you go online right now, you'll see it at $2,000. But I want to give it to you as my gift. Would you like to come as my guest? You can just look at me, or you can give me a hand or a wave or whatever. Okay. I love that, Ed. All right. So there is one little catch. You can come for free as my guest. I'll give you a coupon code for that in a minute. There's only one little thing. We do a signature. Let's see if I can find the image of it here. I don't have an image of it here. One of the things that we do to get you to show up is we send you a swag box. We have the best, I kid you not, the best swag in the business. We're known for our world-class swag. It is, and I can't tell you what's in it because then I have to kill you and you're too young to die. So the swag box literally costs about $50 to get to you if you're in the US. It's a few dollars more if you're overseas or outside the US. You cover the swag, you cover the materials fee, come as my guest. We do not make money on this. So let's be clear. This is not a function of Ken trying to make an extra $50. Whoopee. It's a matter of covering the cost. You cover the swag, you come to the event as my guest. To do that, there's a special link, which I will find for you. Here we go. Just use this link right over here to joinpride.com/EIN. I'll pop that in the chat as well. If you do that, that'll take you to a page where you get to come in as my guest, just cover the cost of the swag. It's $49 US, $15 more for shipping outside the US. But do it now, because we're just a few days away from swag deadline for getting it shipped out to you, so it arrives before the event starts. Swag, by the way, is mandatory. And when you get it, you'll understand why, because it's part of the entire experience. As you can probably tell, I'm an experience guy. To me, it's about how people really interact within an event, so they feel that they're seen, that they belong, that they matter. You know, some of you are putting in the chat, you know, will they pay for the high ticket offer and that sort of thing? They will if they believe they're seen, if they believe they matter. It's hard to talk to Colleen when I can't see her face, okay? Or to Carolyn or to Amy, but I can call her out. I can call them out, you know. When I look at Nasrin, who's like, she's focused, I can see it because her eyes are just like really deep on the screen or whatever. And I will during Pride call all of you out. Trust me, that's one reason why I run a very small event by design. So I can talk to people during the event so they know they matter. I mean, you know, I look at Daniel, and he can't stay still. He's going everywhere. He's going bowling. He's going to my website. He's just everywhere. It's hysterical. I'm not sure what you're using, but I love it. So, you know, the fun thing is that we're able to play. If this excites you, then come join us. And one thing I can tell you is that when you do show up for the Pride event, there's our Pride logo, by the way. When you do show up at the Pride event, it will pretty much change everything for you. And the reason is simple, because you can understand how to actually do it. You're attending an event as you learn how to do an event. It's pretty transparent. Just as I talked about communicating with the audience, as I call each of you out, we do that. When I actually introduce people to our high ticket offer, I say, we're about to show you how to do an application close. Want to watch? Yeah. It's very different. How many of you are ready for something very different that can change your life? Let me see your hands. Okay. That's the idea. So if this excites you, and Colleen, I like the Zoom image, the way you're doing your Zoom. It's great. It's the best Zoom background that's out there, is that blur. It really is. And your lighting is good. Okay, your lighting is really good. So bottom line, mark the date, September 9, 10, 11. Plan on joining me. Okay. I would recommend the upgraded VIPs. You get the recordings, but don't plan on missing it, because you don't get the recordings for a few weeks. Why do we do that, by the way? So you'll show up. So you show up. It's simple. It's really simple. Plus, we also do some editing and so on. So it does take us a while to get it done. All right. So that's pretty much it in terms of what I had planned for you. I can do tons of Q&A. I can do whatever you want, Roger. But I want to make sure I took care of some of the basic things, which were, what are your 4 main components of a high ticket offer, which are accountability, community, wisdom transfer, and bragging rights. I want to talk to you about why physical events are nowhere near as profitable now as digital events, because of the lack of challenge. I want to talk to you about showing why 3-day events better than a one-day event. I wanted you to understand that small events can make you massive amounts of money, like 8 people bringing in $18,000. Tim's Gamble Quarter brought in $50,000 with 7 people on a 3-day event. So I want you to see the possibilities. And by the way, even if you aren't sure what you should talk about, you can bring experts in who can deliver the content, and you are the person that produces it rather than being the guru. So if you don't think you're ready yet, and by the way, you're all ready, you've got plenty of life experience, people who want to learn from, but even if you have imposter syndrome going on, you can still bring in those experts. Think about this for a second. Roger curates TED events. Does Roger talk about all those different topics? Hell no. He just brings in the experts. So you don't have to be that guru. Is that clear? Say yes. Okay. Does that remove a lot of pressure for you guys? See, that's the beauty of these things. I could go on and on, but again, my hour's about over, and it is 4 o'clock in the morning here. So are there questions I can answer for you guys? Let's see. Can I give an example of swag we can send out for events that we nominal? Yeah. So I'll tell you what I'm going to talk a bunch about swag during the event itself, Colleen, and you'll get the swag, of course, that I send out. My swag is all done on demand. So I don't get boxes and boxes of stuff from China in advance, which means you're spending money in advance for numbers you have no idea what you're going to get. Everything that I do is all on demand, and it all comes out of Utah. So you, in other words, you enroll now. On the 26th, when we order the swag, Charmaine from my office hits a button and it's automatic. And then after that, every day, it's just automatic. It goes out. We don't send it out to simply wanted to arrive the week of the event. Okay. And by the way, if people do enroll like after the swag deadline and it gets there too late, the physical stuff will arrive when it arrives, but we do have downloadable swag like the workbook and stuff like that. My workbooks, by the way, are always downloadable. We don't print one for a variety of reasons, but not the least of which is we make changes at the last minute. So if you printed something in advance, you'd be having trouble. I'm trying to see if I can find this one here. It was a gorgeous one. Yeah. Okay. Here's one of my clients before she became a client of mine. She spent a fortune. She's in Toronto, printing out this absolutely gorgeous workbook. And then she changed her event. So she spent like hundreds upon hundreds of dollars on this fantastic workbook, but the event has nothing to do with this workbook anymore. So I do them all downloadable. Makes it easy. It gives you flexibility. How many people do things at the last minute? Let me see your hands. Be honest. Yeah. So give yourself the benefit of being able to do things at the last minute without stress. Don't worry about it. Is there a benefit to have your event pre-recorded? Oh my gosh. I am all about live. First of all, on an event like a 1 or 3 day, if it's pre-recorded, you can't interact with an audience like this. I mean, I'm seeing Colleen nodding her head, right? And it's Colleen's question that I was answering. If it was pre-recorded, I couldn't answer Colleen's question unless someone was just working the chat. It's not the same. By the way, you convert better, but I'll tell you something else. From my standpoint, I have more fun doing it like this. Yeah, this is the middle of the night for me, but do I look miserable? I'll go back to sleep. It's no big deal, but I get to have fun. People are whining about this lockdown. I'm like, so what? I'm still doing business. I'm still having fun. This is a joy, for God's sakes. So always live for me, Now on webinars, pre-recorded webinars are, once you get it dialed in and done right, you can run pre-recorded webinars. I don't love them because again, live converts better, but my mom and I were in Europe a few years ago and at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm doing a webinar live and she's like, moron, record it so you can sleep. So, there's to that level, there's something you can play with. How do you find your topic? That is one of the great subjects of the universe, Paul. I would say this: journal and meditate, and then ask people that you know what they see as your biggest strengths. I'll confess to you, it took me years to figure out what I want to talk about. I've been speaking on stages for other people all over the planet for years, selling their stuff. And when it came time last year to like say, the hell with all the rest of you, I want to do my own thing. I was like, what should I talk about? I don't know. I'm good at so many different things. What should I do? And then I literally was sitting in a meditation and it hit me. Teach people what you know. What have you done for years? I stole millions of dollars from stages. Teach them. And now everyone's on digital. You've been doing digital since 2009. Teach them, dummy. So I'll encourage you to journal, meditate, and ask friends what they think what your sweet spot of genius is, and play with that. And be prepared to change it, by the way. And don't let anybody say, oh, you change your mind all the time. Oh, shut up. What do you know? It's your life. What do they know? The fact is that if you go to the buffet, you keep tasting everything until you know what you really want to do. This is life. It is a buffet. Taste it. Okay. And by the way, Roger, whenever you want me off, just tell me. I'm just trying to take care of the questions here for you.
I got about 5 more minutes, Ken.
Okay. All right. For getting guests to fill in areas of content, you just try flat out, give them a set speaker price. Oh, this is fabulous. I love this question. So John Paul, at my event, I have multiple speakers. Some of them are sponsors, but nobody sells during my event. During my event, and I'll teach you this, you might want to write this down. All roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to Rome. Rome is my high ticket offer. Rome is your high ticket offer. Everything has to drive people to that one conclusion, is that you are the person they need to learn from. Is that clear? Okay. So whoever you have on your stage has to celebrate you and drive people to that location. Otherwise, get them off. They don't belong there. That's one of the biggest mistakes people make. Well, let's just put this person on the stage and they can sell stuff. Bull, wrong thing to do. Distracts from your end goal, which is to sell stuff. Okay. Typically, I pay no one to be on my stage. Nobody. It's a privilege to be on my stage. It's a privilege to be on your stage because you bring in the audience. Okay. People want to have exposure. In some cases, what they have in a sponsorship scenario is they're able to create leads, because we do give them sponsor booths during our event. And again, I'll walk you through this during Pride for those of you joining us. But no, I don't pay speaker fees at all. And I have no problem filling space on my stage. I get people asking to be on my stage. Some people pay. I got one person that pays to be on my stage. And there's a revenue share at the end and so on, but he's providing massive value to be on that stage. So yeah, it's a really good question. Let's see. But by the way, don't be afraid to put on a speaker to fill in areas of content, even if it's something you already know. Giving your audience another voice breaks things up. So even though I'm dynamic and I'm fun and I'm sexy, the fact is, after a while, people like, just give them a break. So have someone else in there that can break things up. It's kind of good for the experience. I do use an event host who's a friend of mine, and I do that once again to give me a break, because if you do it all yourself over 3 days, it takes a lot of energy. I've done it for years, but on digital, especially on digital, it allows me to have a little bit of a break. I'm going to take you through all the nuances during this 3 days. If you want to make digital your home for how to create profitability, to how to build a business, to create a global footprint, this is the event. I kid you not. This is the event that you want to be at. And I'll show you exactly how to do it all the way through. So come as my guest. I'll pop the link back in the chat for you guys. Hang on. Yeah, don't tech your own event. You're exactly right, Justin. Don't tech your own event. Absolutely. You'd be an idiot to do that, quite frankly. I have a full team and I recommend it for sure. So I want to put this in the chat real quickly. Join Pride. And it's EIN. There you go. So use that link, grab your spot at Pride. Again, Pride is limited in size, so do it now before it does sell out, because all of our marketing is about to hit over the next few days. Typically, by the way, digital events, you will sell it towards the end, like a couple of weeks before the end. You'll freak out, by the way, like, oh, no one's registered. And all of a sudden, boom, it'll happen like that. It's just part of the nature of things. And I'll walk you through that too. But understand that we do limit sizes, even though we can go as big as we want in Zoom. To have intimacy, I do limit the number of people, and then there'll be a wait list for the next one, just so that I can play and I can have fun with the audience, as I think you recognize I'm having with you guys. So Roger, I want to acknowledge you. I want you guys to recognize what a gem you have in Mr. Killen over here. This guy is amazing. He is so fastidious about making sure an event comes together. When he works with guests, he has, I would say, the best onboarding program for guests I have ever seen. I asked him if I could actually copy it, and he graciously said yes. He is organized. He wants guests to show up at least 30 minutes early. There are so many people that do things like this that haven't got a clue. They throw it together with Scotch tape and pray. This guy has backups to the backup, is the consummate professional, and you have no idea how lucky you truly are to have this guy running your event and setting things up for you. So I want to acknowledge you guys. I want to acknowledge you, Roger. Thank you.
Ken, I really appreciate your very kind and generous words. On behalf of EIN, it's now time for me to thank you for giving this free invitation to the next Pride event. I'm certainly going to try and be there, because no matter how often one does this, one can always be better. And it sounds to me like you've walked the walk, and you've learned all your lessons on the hard anvil of experience. And I just want to tap into them and learn more from you. So thank you very, very much for sharing your thoughts, your energy. It's got to be 5 a.m. in the morning in Sydney. Go back to bed. And you'll see a whole pile of us. What is it? September the 9th to the 11th.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
It's 4 o'clock. I appreciate that, Roger. Thank you so much. Yeah, you guys mark your calendars, be there, join us. We will have some fun together. You'll learn a lot. You'll understand how to make a ton of money and build your lifestyle the way you want. It's pretty cool.